Hey friends, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Gospel of Mark reading plan. We're so excited to walk through this gospel with you. Today's reading is Mark chapter 2. If you haven't already, pause this video and read it slowly. Enjoy it, savor it. I read this chapter and my question for you is, what do you do when people don't do what you expect they'll do? Now, how do you respond in your own life when people don't behave the way you expected them to or hoped them to? What I noticed in Mark chapter 2 is there are 4 little stories here, and in each story, Jesus confuses people with how he acts. In each story, the teachers of the law, or the religious experts, the people who are supposed to know the most about God, are confused by how Jesus behaves, and they ask questions. There's 4 questions. They say, why does he talk like that? This is about him healing the paralyzed man, but really he forgives the man of his sin. The second question is, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? The third question is, why isn't he fasting like everyone else is? And the fourth is, why doesn't he observe the Sabbath? Now, each little moment is worth sitting in. So on your own time, sit in that story and study. Remember, this whole first part of Mark's gospel is asking, who is this Jesus? And each of these 4 stories gives us hints, paints the picture of who Jesus is. But what I'm struck by is these questions. Now, often in the Gospels, Jesus is asked questions and he doesn't actually answer the question directly. But in each of these 4 questions, Jesus responds directly. And it's his answer that tells us about himself. So again, we could sit in each of these questions like, who is this man that he thinks he could forgive sins? Or why does he forgive tax collectors and sinners? If you haven't already, read Elizabeth's commentary in this week's email for today. But my question for you as we reflect on it is, what do you do when people confuse you? For me, usually I step back and have conversations in my head about them. Or I come up with answers on my own, or I retreat and withdraw in relationship. And I wonder, for people in your life, when they're confusing to you, when you don't understand what they're up to, could you get curious and ask questions? Put words to your confusion, get concrete, and seek clarity. And then I would push a little deeper and say, if Jesus confused and confounded even the religious experts of his time, is it not okay for him also to confuse and confound us? Do you ever have questions about what God is up to? About how God allows certain things? Or how God is at work in difficult circumstances in the world? Could you take a moment today to put words to some of that confusion, words to some of those questions, and ask them to God in prayer? And in this case, Jesus speaks at them directly, and his answer gives us clarity about his character, about who he is. You may not receive a direct word from God, but at least asking the question opens the conversation, and you may be surprised at what he has to say. So enjoy this story. Sit in these 4 moments. Try to digest, what is Jesus saying about himself in response to these questions? It's so, so good. But in your own life today, when you are confused by others, instead of responding with judgment, aloofness, withdrawing, can you move towards them by asking a question to seek clarity? Blessings on your day, friends, and we'll see you soon.